Hello everyone, and thank you again for tuning in to another video with Stay Away with Narcs. I truly appreciate all the kindness and the love that you guys are sharing and subscribing to this channel. I've seen that this community is beginning to grow, and I truly appreciate this. I started this channel out of, wanting to put a word out there for others to be able to heal, because this type of abuse, narcissistic abuse, is it's such a turmoil and so confusing to each and every one of us that have to suffer going through this type of abuse. So thank you for, sharing your stories in the comments, and thank you for sharing the videos so we can get this word out to other people so that they can heal. That's the main goal of this channel, is, to have these stories shared with others so people can process the abuse and know that it is truly abuse and wrong that's being done to them, and that they're not the ones that are going crazy, as we often think when we're under narcissistic abuse. So again, thank you. To those of you that are new to this channel, thank you again for tuning in. If you have not subscribed, I appreciate your subscription. If you could go ahead and hit that notification bell for updates. Like the videos if they are helping you heal. You could let me know in the comments any feedback that you have. And again, in the comments, if you have any topic regarding narcissism and narcissistic abuse that you want me to create a video on and discuss, I will more than likely look at that so I can create a video. I want, these topics to be something that each and every one of us has to be able to heal in this community. So thank you again. And so for today's video, I wanted to go over a little bit about my personal experience having witnessed the scapegoat child of a narcissistic mother, an extremely toxic, highly malignant. Again, if you have not went through my other videos yet, you may have not known that I had an extremely malignant narcissistic mother-in-law, and I was a scapegoat of hers, as well I was engaged to a scapegoat of a child of hers. So I'm going to go a little bit about that and how these narcissistic mothers and mother-in-laws scapegoat their children and, pit them against their golden children. And specifically, they sabotage the joy. They always want to sabotage the joy of the scapegoat, and it doesn't matter how much good that the scapegoat does for their mother or for their narcissistic parent. They can fly to the moon and back for that parent, and they will still be somebody that narcissistic parent despises and puts down and calls every negative name in the book. And I want to affirm to you guys that this is severe child abuse in every single way. And a lot of us don't really understand what child abuse is until we have known somebody that is scapegoated, or we know somebody that has been severely abandoned and neglected because they have been a scapegoat of a narcissistic parent. I witnessed it and I felt it myself. And to see somebody go through this is extremely painful. And so that's why I wanted to get this word out to, anybody that has been suffering, being a scapegoat of a narcissistic parent. It is child abuse at the end of the day. This is extremely abusive nature. That is not, in any way your fault at all. As narcissistic parents make us believe that it is our fault as a scapegoat. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this video. Again, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. Okay, and the way that I'm going to explain this video is going to be on three main topics. These are far off not the only things that the scapegoat child suffers through and goes through at the hands of narcissistic abuse. But these three main topics are something that I have frequently seen all narcissistic scapegoats of narcissistic parents that have suffered through. And so the three topics I'm going to discuss are: number one, the scapegoat's joy is always going to be sabotaged by that narcissistic parent. And number two, the emotional abuse and the abandonment by that narcissistic parent of that scapegoat child. And number three, the blame and the finger pointing of not only that narcissistic parent, but their flying monkeys and everybody that the narcissist has convinced in the family or their friends. That finger is going to be blamed and pointed on the scapegoat. So the scapegoat is going to take the blame of everything in the family. So those three main points is their joy is going to be sabotaged. They're going to be emotionally abandoned and neglected. And three, the blame and every negative fault and messed up thing that happens or occurs in the narcissistic family system is going to be put on the scapegoat child, and eventually that scapegoat child is, going to believe that they are the ones that is in wrong, when actually it's been the narcissist all the whole time. And that, unfortunately, even, well into the adult years, that scapegoat is going to grow up thinking that they're a bad person. And a lot of this you see take place you see older adults that are suffering, that they feel like they're not confident enough, they're not competent enough to do anything, when they're, they have a good level IQ, they're make themselves seem like they're just not good enough of doing anything. And this is because they have been abused verbally, emotionally, psychologically, to be told that they are nothing, that they were never worthy of anything, that they're not competent of anything. And I'm going to explain a little bit of this in a little more detail. People can understand this is child abuse. This type of abuse is this causes suicide for a lot of people, unfortunately. But this needs to be discussed, and we need to open up the talkways for this more. Okay, so the first that I stated that I was going to speak about was, number one, that narcissistic parent, especially that narcissistic mother, she is going to sabotage the joy of that scapegoat child, no matter what. And when I say no matter what, it's no matter what. Because unfortunately, that scapegoat child is going to try to please their parent so bad, because they feel abandoned and neglected. They feel like they are nothing to that parent. And as we know, all a child really wants and all a child needs, truly, is to be nurtured and loved unconditionally by a parent when they grow up. And if you are the scapegoat, that is exactly the opposite of what you are getting. You're not getting unconditional love. You are going to get battered down, and you're going to be mainly neglected, emotionally abused, and told that you are at fault for everything and you're not good enough. And any joy that you want to attain as a child and as an adult, if you are the scapegoat, throughout your life, will be sabotaged by that narcissistic parent. And again, narcissism is on a spectrum. So the higher that parent is on the spectrum, being that if that parent is an extreme malignant narcissist, they will go to extreme measures to sabotage your joy. And I've seen this firsthand with my ex-fiance when he was a scapegoat. For example, when sabotaging joy, a narcissistic parent is going to, for example, if it's your birthday, anything that has to do with you, it's a birthday, your graduation, high school graduation, college graduation, any type of party or celebration that revolves around that scapegoat child is going to be sabotaged and minimized. And I remember when my ex-fiance, I first met him, and he had his birthday coming up, and I kept telling him, what are you gonna do? And he kept brushing it off like it wasn't that big of a deal, like his birthday was pretty much nothing. And this is a sign and symptom of being a scapegoat of a narcissistic parent, because that scapegoat child, from very early on, they are taught that their birthday is nothing, that anything that celebrates them doesn't mean anything because they are a bad kid. They're taught that they are a bad kid. And my ex-fiance always had this prolonged, even that, when I went no contact with him, he had this prolonged thought of him being a bad kid, a bad person, a bad adult. And in actuality, if you are the scapegoat, this is the saddest thing about it, is that when you are the scapegoat, you are the most justice-seeking person, you are the most kind-seeking person. Usually this is the case. I'm not going to say this is all the time, but in most cases, you are the most respectful, you are the most loving, you are the most compassionate, you are the most empathetic in the family. And that is the major reason the narcissist is going to scapegoat you. I have another video on that topic, the 3 reasons why you might get scapegoated, if you want to check that out. But that's the major reason that I delve into that. And it's unfortunate, because these children grew up believing that they are bad and they will never succumb to anything in society. And you actually see their behavior just portraying that, really. They portray themselves like they're a criminal. They portray themselves like, and they end up actually acting out on criminal behaviors and acting out on, things like not doing homework, talking back to teachers and things of that, because they were trained and brainwashed to believe that they are not a good person. And it's unfortunate, like I said, because in the beginning, this child is, there'll be quote unquote the highly sensitive child. They'll be the most empathetic and compassionate child, and they'll know that. But on a subconscious level, they're acting out what their parents have taught them, their narcissistic parents have taught them that they are. So when it comes to sabotaging the joy of that child, for example, he had his birthday that day and he was acting like it's just there's a complete waste to his birthday. Like, there's no need to celebrate, there's no need to do anything. And I was like, well, at least are you going to get a cake or something? And he goes, well, yeah, I told my mom that I want the specific type of cake. I want, because he liked chocolate cake, and she never got him the chocolate cake. She actually purposely went out and bought the cake that he does not like, the flavor of the cake that he does not like. When repeatedly he would tell me, I always tell her, Mom, I do not like this cake, and she'll end up bringing the cake anyway. Because again, you're the scapegoat, and that narcissistic parent wants to sabotage your joy. Your birthday means nothing to them. They'll sabotage the joy, and in a covert way, they'll make it seem like they care about your birthday. Maybe they'll buy you a gift, but especially the gift to that scapegoat, it has a means to an end. It doesn't matter if they buy you a gift, because if they buy you a gift, it's just them saying, hey, I did this for you, so you have to go do 3 million things for me, and if you don't, I'm going to emotionally and verbally abuse you, physically abuse you sometimes even. And that was the case. Another instance was when he graduated high school. I looked at his high school graduation photos, and, she had him dressed up in crappy clothes. The scapegoat, you'll see that compared to the golden children in the family, they may not dress as nice. You'll see hints of that. They may dress in the, the rundown, the hand-me-down clothes, because the scapegoat doesn't get the nice things, because that's for the golden children. And you'll see the golden children with a nice pressed suit on, as I've seen, even on religious occasions when they go to, the church or whatever. You'll see the golden children dressed really nice, and then the scapegoat has just wrinkly, no good clothes on. A lot of the times you'll see that. And for his own graduation, he was not dressed up nice. Like, his clothes were wrinkled. You could tell they were not put together. And he just, like, the hall, even for the party that they did his, graduation celebration in, it was like this very rundown place. And then when you compare that to the golden child's high school graduation, she got this narcissistic mother got this big grand ball for the golden child and did all these decorations and had all these nice things, and his clothes were nice and everything was nice. That is, it's so hurtful, because these narcissistic parents pit their children against each other to grow envy and to grow jealousy against each other. And this is where you have these sibling rivalries that a lot of the times, even if they're not physically fighting or anything like this, they'll have this internal envy against one another, even on a subconscious level, to just feel like, oh, your mom's favorite, oh, your dad's favorite. And these narcissistic parents do it on purpose, is what's so sick and sad about it. And the saddest thing about it is that the golden child that's, brought up by that narcissistic parent to believe that they're the grand and they're the best and they're good at everything, when we in reality know that that's not the case, because the golden children usually turn out to be the bullies. They usually turn out to be the ones that actually do wrong. Those golden children and those scapegoat children, when you look at them, the scapegoat, you can tell that the scapegoat is actually a very smart child most of the time, where the golden child may be cheating to get good grades. They may be going through the ways to do whatever that they have to do to pass school. But the golden child, at the end of the day, because they were brought up so confidently, to be so confident by that narcissistic parent, they're going to get through life, so much easily compared to the scapegoat. The scapegoat has extreme low self-esteem because they've been battered down by that narcissistic parent, and their self-esteem is so extremely low that they feel, even though that they are very intelligent, that scapegoat child is usually very intelligent, they won't be able to get through life because they feel like they're not good enough. They will fail at tests because they have that inner critic, that voice of that narcissistic parent, that inner critic screaming at them, telling them that you're nothing, you're not good, you're this, you're that. And so they end up failing the test and they end up failing at life a lot of the times because of the reason, because of what's put in them by that narcissistic parent. And I saw that a lot in my ex-fiance, is that I knew, and I had such a gut feeling that this kid, he is so smart and he knows so much and he's so creative and he's so artistic and he has so much potential. But he will not let himself feel that. He does not believe in himself. He doesn't have the self-esteem and the self-love to be able to do the minimum at life. And this is so messed up, and this is why scapegoat children need extreme therapy to get to the level of, thriving in life that they will excel at. And I did not get scapegoated as much as he did, but the little scapegoating that I did go through with his mother, I was able to snap out of it more because I didn't have that internal voice instilled in me since I was a child. I had a bit of that from my own family, but nothing on the extreme level that he did. So again, the more prolonged this is, the more therapy and the more help that the scapegoat child will need. And again, that golden child, he's been perked up. He's been perked up by that narcissistic parent to believe that he has all the power and he could do everything in life. And that's why you see these golden children usually like in the level of politicians or CEOs, and they have these, they put all their potential up there. And, people think, especially in this society and in Western society, that the more extroverted you are, the more confident, the more outspoken you are, the more successful that you're going to be. And that's why you see so many bullies and, golden children of narcissistic parents excelling when really they may have just, cheated throughout their life. Just cheated, stealed people's ideas. They don't have the creativity and they don't have the artistic ability that scapegoat child has. They don't even have the smarts and the justice seeking that scapegoat has. So that is just, it's, at the end of the day, it makes me so mad, and it's one of the topics about narcissistic family systems and narcissism in general that just gets my blood boiling every time, because I've been with a scapegoat, I've been partially scapegoated, and to come out of that and to know, it's the narcissist that is making you believe these things about yourself is so cruel. And the sole purpose and the sole point and reason that the narcissist scapegoats you and chooses you as the scapegoat child is because you are kind, you are sensitive, you speak out in injustice. And I see a lot of examples of children that are getting battered emotionally and verbally abused by narcissistic parents and end up becoming the scapegoat because they will point out the wrong that narcissistic parents do. And in every type of narcissistic situation, when you're dealing with this person with narcissistic personality disorder, whether it's your parent or not, let's give an example. If you have a narcissistic politician and you work with that politician and you point out maybe that narcissistic politician is doing something extremely wrong and extremely unjust, you point that out, even though you're a very smart, very diligent worker, very kind and respectful, honest person, you point out any type of wrong that narcissistic politician has done, you're going to get scapegoated. You're going to become a scapegoat, and they're going to put the blame on you, and they're going to have the whole office, they're going to have all your colleagues talking about you, and they're going to smear you, and you're going to be the target. And they most likely will fire you and make you feel incompetent and make you feel, they'll gaslight you to make you believe that you are nothing and you will never come to anything. Now imagine that, and imagine having to have your parent, have that be your parent, and you grow up as a child. Because children know. Let's not, especially highly empathetic children that become scapegoated by narcissistic parents. Children see wrong and they know wrong. And when they speak out against it, that narcissistic parent, labels them the scapegoat predominantly for the rest of their lives. You might see situations where that scapegoat might get in the position of the golden child here or there. But for the most part, especially if that child is, speaking out against the injustice of their parent, they will get battered and abused verbally, emotionally, sometimes even physically, sometimes even sexually by that parent. And they will become the blame. They will become the scapegoat of the family. The black sheep is also another name for it. They will get turmoil, torture. and their life as an adult is an extremely, like I said, some of these, children end up becoming adults that commit suicide because of the pain and the abandonment. Their parents emotionally and verbally abusing them it's something that I can't even imagine. I only went through a bit of it. And, therapy is so integral. Mental health, these children grow up with anxiety and depression throughout their life. They grow up with maybe bipolar disorder, so many different types of mental illnesses, and they suffer in silence. And that's another reason why advocating for mental health is something that we also need to be doing. And then we have the golden children of these parents that they'll go out and they'll beat somebody up in the street, and their narcissistic parent will applaud them for it. And then you have the scapegoat all the while watching this unfold and still feeling like they're the incompetent one, and still being, having that narcissistic parent telling all of the family members and all of their friends that the scapegoat does this wrong and does that wrong, and the scapegoat will never get anything nice from that narcissistic parent unless there's some type of gain for that narcissistic parent attached to it. It's all conditional. And even for the golden child, it's conditional. But for the golden child, that narcissistic parent is just going to perk them up in confidence to make that narcissistic parent look good. And that golden child usually turns out to be a narcissist themselves if they do not get away early enough, if they do not go through enough therapy or have some other type of support on the outside of the family that doesn't agree with narcissism and narcissistic tactics used by that parent. So I'm going to do a part 2 of this video. I did not want to prolong this, but I just wanted to be able to put a video out there on some of this information. I know this sounds a little bit like a rant. I needed to put a video out there, and I'm going to be uploading more videos frequently. I apologize, you guys. I've had some mishaps with, illnesses and, people falling ill in my family, and I had to be there for them. And I'm also going into graduate school and preparing for that. So I just want to let you guys know that I created a website called embraceyourshine.com, and it's a part of me advocating and helping end the stigma for mental health. Again, mental health in our society, especially here in the United States where I'm from, has become something that is so stigmatized. And it's so stigmatized in so many cultures across the world. And so many people, like scapegoats and children of narcissistic parents, are suffering in silence. And I created this website, and 10% of the proceeds will go to the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They'll go to Save the Children. They'll go to other well-known charities and organizations. You can check that, website out. And I do have some blogs. I'm going to try to be posting more blogs that I write. So if you want to check that out, I also have an Instagram page for it. It's at @embraceyourshine_, and that's embrace your shine, all one word. I'll put it in the below in the description of this video. So if you please want to check out, also if you want to donate, I'll have donation links to this video for you guys. And again, let me know any other topics. I will be doing these videos and be putting them out more and frequently talking about the topics that you want me to talk about. This, we need to get this information out so we can heal. We need to talk about our stories. And narcissism, it's something so extremely just painstaking. And hopefully I'll have my own counseling and mental health YouTube channel that I'll put up besides this one. I'm going to still participate in putting videos on this channel, of course. So I go ahead and please subscribe, please like the videos, please leave your comments and your stories below. And if you have any information that you like to share with others, we'd like to hear it. I love you all. Have a blessed day.